training for the 2015 Wisconsin Engineering Design Competition. My name is Patricia Dibert. I am the administrator of this competition. I'm on staff at Milwaukee School of Engineering where I serve as a STEM coordinator for the university. I also work as an affiliate associate director for Project Lead the Way. MSOE is the affiliate university for PLTW in the state of Wisconsin. My role as a director is to oversee the biomedical science and launch programs for Project Lead the Way. This is the second year that I have been asked to serve as the administrator of this competition. PLTW is the nation's leading provider of K-12 STEM curriculum. PLTW is an activity, problem, project-based curriculum where students drive their learning. Teachers serve as facilitators and guides in the process. Students learn that struggle is part of the learning process and that failure is not a stumbling block but an opportunity to try again. There are 5 programs of study. Launch is the elementary curriculum where students learn the design process alongside reading, writing, and arithmetic. Gateway is the middle school program which supports 2 foundation courses, design and modeling and automation robotics. There are multiple specialization units to augment the science and technical education curricula. At the high school level, there are 3 tracks: the traditional and well-established engineering track, the biomedical science track, and more recently, the computer science track. PLTW high school students have the opportunity to take progressive courses in a particular track along with college preparatory math and science. Each of the high school tracks culminates in a capstone experience where students identify a unique problem and then work with their team and industry mentors using the engineer design process to establish a solution. Students document their work in the Innovation Portal. The Innovation Portal is not unique to PLTW. Any student can use the Innovation Portal for any project. The value is that the Innovation Portal provides a step-by-step documentation process that facilitates a design solution, and that brings your expertise to the table. I want to personally thank you for volunteering to be a judge in our competition for high school students across the state of Wisconsin. The competition is open to all biomedical innovation and engineering design and development students in the state of Wisconsin who are currently enrolled in one of the capstone courses. The impetus behind this competition is to give students the opportunity to move yet another high school project from a box in the attic to an opportunity to have their work reviewed by a panel of experts. That's you. And the possibility of having a feasibility study completed on their portfolio to determine the marketability of their design solution. This competition has been generously financed by Rockwell Automation and supported by the Small Business Development Center and Wisconsin Innovation Service Center housed at UW-Whitewater under the leadership of Mr. Ronald Bud Gayhart. Milwaukee School of Engineering has provided time in my schedule to orchestrate the administrative support needed to offer such a competition to our PLTW network. This year we have nearly 190 students registered representing 20 schools. That translates into the potential of 70 portfolios if all teams submit. I currently have 51 judges. For your information, today's training session will be recorded and made available on YouTube for future reference. With us today is Mr. Mark Schroll from the Project Lead the Way National Office. Mark has been very active in developing the Innovation Portal and can offer us some insight into the history. He will then walk us through the scoring rubric which is embedded in the Innovation Portal where students have submitted their portfolios. The judging window is June 15 through July 15. I would ask that you judge the portfolios based on how well the team has completed the elements of the rubric, not on the idea or problem. How well students can document the design process of their problem solution is what I am asking you to judge. Connected to your evaluation of how well a team has documented their work is scholarship money, as well as the opportunity for a feasibility study by the Wisconsin Innovation Service Center. The competition is based on documentation, not idea. This reflects how well the student team understands the importance of the documentation process. Upon completion of your work, I will tabulate the results and personally contact the top teams. This year we will be recognizing our winners at a special ceremony on August 5th. The details are currently being defined. I will be inviting the top teams as well as extending an invitation to each of you to share this special celebration. In an effort to give this virtual science fair experience for you, our judges, I will ask Mark to upload the portfolios of the top teams to your bucket so that you can review the work of those who have elevated to the top of this competition. Again, thank you for volunteering your time, and without further ado, let me turn control over to Mark.
All right, thank you, Pat, and good morning, everybody. Hopefully you're able to see the first slide on the screen and hear my voice. If you are not, you can type into the chat window at the bottom or turn on your microphone and interrupt me at any time. But what we have planned for you this morning is an introduction to the interface. It's very analogous, as Pat mentioned, to being invited to judge a science fair project, with the exception that it's all online and at your leisure, which is a nice thing. So rather than coming to a particular site like a school with the gymnasium, this is the session where we would all gather in an auditorium. You'd be handed a clipboard, and my job today is to show you where the scoring sheet is online, where we put that for you, how the interface works, how to access the portfolios that Pat will be assigning to you. So I've set up a model for that to walk through all of that. And as Pat said, we're recording this session, and we'll make this session available to you via YouTube link, so you can fast forward or rewind through it. And we've also have some PDF files that we have sent to you, or will be sending to you, that are supportive materials as well. So this is the on the screen at the moment. One of the first orders of business, many of you on the call, if not all of you, have already done this particular portion, but we do want to stop for a moment and make sure that, let's see, there we go. Sorry. This is the agenda we've set out for you, and the first part is simply to make sure that you have created your own Innovation Portal account successfully, and if you have difficulty with that, I can certainly help you. Once you've created the Innovation Portal account and are able to log in, our next order of business is to connect that account to the competition. The visual kind of metaphor or analogy that we've been using is Pat's got a competition dashboard that she is control of. She can see all things coming in from students, all of you connected to it. So she's got kind of the large competition bucket, and your Innovation Portal account, the ones that you create for yourselves, are kind of your personal buckets. We got to get those all connected so that when the students submit all of their portfolios, then Pat can redistribute them to all of you using the system. So one of the things that I will offer, one of the great things about putting this online is that you can grade as a judge at your leisure from any computer that has internet access. One note for judges, though, is if you jump from computer to computer, the only issue we've seen in hundreds of judges is that the Innovation Portal and the system we built for you is an online application, which requires the use of a fairly new browser version. So sometimes you get on a school computer or something like that that has Internet Explorer or Firefox from several years back, and the back end of that will not support some of the functionality that you need. Two things that we've put in place for you. One is on the screen. If you want to check whatever browser you're at, you can simply go to "What is my browser?" and it will ping the computer you're sitting at and tell you if your browser is up to date. And if it's not, it will show you how to update it. It takes just a few seconds. Otherwise, we've also built that same kind of system into the Innovation Portal. We've tried to make it non-obtrusive. So if you log in and a yellow bar appears at the top of your portfolio, just in the back of your brain, just take note. That yellow bar will just say, hey, it appears your browser's out of date, and here's how to update it. If you don't see a yellow bar, then you're doing great. So that's the first order of business. The second is, if you look at the agenda for today, we're going to just review how to get the buckets connected real quick. And then I've set up a demonstration for you from the perspective of a judge. We'll walk through each section. And so if you feel free to use we'll play like we're NASA, and if you, next to your name, you'll see a picture of a phone if you're calling in, or a microphone if you're using the computer speakers. You can click that microphone and it will put a bar through there muting you and unmuting you. So if you have questions, you can stop me at any time, or if you'd prefer, you can, I'll be monitoring the chat window. If you push the down arrow in the chat window and type your questions in there, I'll try to monitor that and address those questions as we go. So we'll jump right into that. If you have done this part already, forgive me. I just wanted to make sure that everybody understands that this is important. This is how we get your buckets connected. The first order of business is to create your own Innovation Portal account. Simply going to innovationportal.org, filling out the registration fields, which is name, organization, takes about 3 minutes. And then when you click the register button, it will send you an email, and then you click on the registration confirmation link that it sends you. You'll be allowed to create your own password, and then you've got an Innovation Portal account. That's all there is to it. It's the same thing that teachers and the students that you'll be working for have done. And so you've created a bucket. The second order of business is to get that bucket connected to the competition. If you haven't done this already, all that requires is that you send Pat an email saying, "Hi, Pat, I've successfully created an account, and here's the email that I used to create my account." Pat will then just generate an invitation with the system, the functionality we've given her, and that will generate a second email to you from the Innovation Portal saying, "Hey, you've been invited to be a judge. Would you like to accept?" And once you accept, it connects your account to this competition. If you've had any difficulty doing that so far, we want to make sure that you guys are all set before the distribution of portfolios. On the screen at the moment is a kind of an animation I've created for you, just so you can see what is going to be happening, and maybe it'll generate some questions as well. And then we'll jump over to the Innovation Portal and show you what that interface looks like. A couple of things from the perspective of a judge. The student teams represented here over on the left have been building portfolios. You'll see the portfolios on the screen exactly as the students have built it for you. When they submit a portfolio to the competition, the system takes an entire copy of the portfolio at the time they submitted it. That means they've inserted a video and links and documents. It'll all be there for you just as they have put it together. Also, what's important is not only the interface of the format, which you'll be looking at, the rubric that you'll be using to grade, word for word, is the exact rubric the students were using from day one. And as a judge, that's it, how a rubric should be done. The students are saying, this is what you'll be graded on. So, it's no surprises. The teachers have been teaching to that rubric. So as a judge, if something is not there, it's not because they didn't see the rubric beforehand. And we've had that question from judges before. So the rubric given to them day one, embedded in the portal, shown to you just as I will show you in a minute, and it'll be the same rubric you'll be using. So here's what the students have been doing and how the system kind of works. The students have registered for this competition. Pat mentioned earlier that there are roughly 190 students who have registered their interest and intent to be part of a team to submit, and that might transfer into about 70 portfolios if they're teams on an average, if they all submit. They've been building their portfolios up to this point, and we know that there's about 3 or 4 students who've submitted, as of this morning. Most of them are in class now, trying to put the finishing touches on these portfolios for all of you. And then it will look something like this. Sometime today or yet this week, they will submit their portfolios to Pat's, the competition bucket, if you would, and it would look something like that. And then once all of those portfolios are in place and all Pat has taken a look at all extenuating circumstances, if somebody had technical issues, those kinds of things. Once all the portfolios are in the bucket, Pat will tell the system to distribute them to you all randomly, and it would look something like this. So the point here is that you won't be seeing all 70 portfolios. You'll be seeing only the ones assigned to you random from the entire collection. Pat also alluded to the fact that after the competition is over, once the winners are known, this is one, I suppose, negative characteristic to being able to grade online, is that if we were in a gymnasium, even though you were assigned to, say, these 3 portfolios, you would have some sense of what the competition, the field of competition looked like. But you'd be walking past them, you'd have some time to look at other projects as well. Unfortunately, the system doesn't do that. So at the end of the competition, we'll be taking the winners and putting them back in your bucket as well, addition to the ones that you'll be scoring, so you can see what the winners look like. And also there is the opportunity, as Pat mentioned, to come to the culminating event where the winners will be presented their awards and you'll be able to see their projects. So we'll submit all those portfolios to you as the animation looks here. And then there's a couple of methods here, and the judges have been using to grade that I'll describe. Maybe you'll see yourself in one of these. The system allows you to do one of 2 things. We have judges who prefer to grade and score one portfolio at a time. I get this one just the way I want it, and then I submit those scores to Pat. And once you submit the scores for a portfolio to Pat, as I will show you, they are embedded in the system, meaning you can't edit them. You will still have access to them, but you can't change them anymore. And then those judges prefer to go very systematically. Judge this one, grade it, send it in. Judge this one, grade it, send it in. The system also supports, and I will show you this as well, if you prefer to kind of look at all of your portfolios at once before you send anything into Pat. So you can grade one entirely, but leave it fluid and not submit it, then move on to the next portfolio and grade it. And if there's something in the second portfolio that says, I want to go see how I graded the first portfolio, you can go back and forth, adjusting your grades as you would like. So if you'd like to look at all of your portfolios and grade that way, and then come back at the end and submit each one to Pat at the end, that's fine. We also had a judge, Emily from last year, who suggested something that we're mentioning in the training now. She said she also found the technique of, if you'll picture in your mind a portfolio, a physical 3-ring binder sitting in front of your desk at the moment with little tabs sticking out of the side. That is the model that we've used. They're depicted by letter A, B, C, and the students are told what to put into A, B, and C, as you'll see. But Emily said that she found it very helpful as the judge to grade A in each of the portfolios and then go back and grade B in each of the portfolios rather than do whole portfolios at once. She graded each section so she could have that section's goals in her mind as she graded across the spectrum. So if any one of those techniques seem to describe your vision of judging, the system will support all of those. So we'll jump ahead. I just wanted to offer this. Again, I'm about to jump over and show you the interface, but again, the students have been using the portfolio. There's a graphic on the screen of little tabs sticking out the side. The portfolio they've shared with their partners, whether they're in the same classroom or a different school. In this case, they're probably all from the same schools, the teams are. They shared that portfolio with their teacher the same way that you will see it as a judge, and it was very fluid. The teacher could comment using the rubric. That's very important, saying things like, hey, I think you're at a 2 right now, and to make this a 3 or a 4, these are the things I would suggest. The students are also able to share their portfolio and get that kind of feedback from their project mentors. Again, all around using the language of the rubric. One nice thing about this particular structure on the Innovation Portal is that because the rubric is the guide and also the assessment tool, if there are multiple competitions on the Innovation Portal, there is an international one that ended earlier this year. students could submit the same body of work to that and also this competition as well. And judges, just like you, have been using the rubric to grade different competitions. So students then also can make as many portfolios for as many classes with their account as they would like. So that's kind of the structure of the Innovation Portal. It's both a classroom tool and a tool for what we're doing now, creating an opportunity for recognition. This is the last slide that I have for you, and I also wanted to offer one more way to consider judging. Oftentimes, it's an exercise in screen real estate, especially if you're using a laptop. So if I'm about to show you how to access the scoring sheet and the rubric and the portfolio all online where we have it for you. But sometimes judges prefer to have the rubric in print form sitting in front of them and just use the computer to access the student work, and that's fine. On the screen at the moment, we'll be sending you these 3 resources. Off to the left is a step-by-step guide of the interface I'm going to show you. Just shows you how to access, where do I find my portfolios in the gym, where's the scoring sheet, that kind of thing. The center one, I'm going to mention something about reflective questions taken from the rubric. Students also have these reflective questions in front of them. So they have the rubric and these reflective questions. We found those are also very useful to judges. So we wanted you to have those in print form if you wanted those. And finally, off to the right, the complete rubric. The EDPPSR is a mouthful, to be sure, but the rubric itself was developed through about a 4-year NSF grant with dozens of university professors who teach engineering design to write down the design process. What we learned from that is that you should be careful about letting engineers name anything, because EDPPSR stands for Engineering Design Process Portfolio Scoring Rubric. It doesn't fit well on a t-shirt, but it is very descriptive. And that's where this rubric has come from. So we have those 3 resources, and the 4th being this training video also that will be provided for you. So as I switch screens and jump over to the Innovation Portal and show you the interface, I'll pause for a minute, and if you have any questions or would like me to reiterate something, please jump in now as I switch the screens around. All right. If you do have questions, or I didn't allow enough time for everybody to jump in, please add them to the chat window, or just unmute your microphone and interrupt me, and I'll be glad to address any questions you have. So when you come to the Innovation Portal, I'm going to jump to the main page here. You'll come to this page that shows you some basic slides, the home page, if you would, of the Innovation Portal. If you want to know more about the Innovation Portal and its history, you can use the Go pages in each one of these little slideshows as it jumps across. But if you've already done that, to access the portfolios in this context, I guess, using the metaphor again, we're going to be walking into the gym and showing you how to get to your portfolios. Because you've been connected, and at this time next week, Pat will have distributed the portfolios. When you log in, I'm going to do that here. One note for judges is that when you jump right into the Innovation Portal, one of the design requirements we had when building the Innovation Portal was not to have different kinds of logins for different kinds of people, meaning a judge's login, a teacher's login, a student login, because we found out that teachers, and especially at the university level, people play all those different kinds of roles. Why that's important to judging is that an account is an account. Your account is the same kind of account the student would have. You've just been connected as a judge where they have not. Why that's important is because when you log into the Innovation Portal, it defaults to, I'll highlight it here in the upper right-hand corner, to My Portfolios. It assumes you want to start building portfolios, so it jumps there. And as a judge, we actually want to look over to the left-hand side, and I'll mouse over. We want to go to Opportunities. So I'm going to click on Opportunities, and that takes you to the current opportunities that students can enter at the moment. And as you'll see, the Wisconsin competition, because it doesn't until the 7th, is still in the current mode. The Minnesota competition is still there. And then there are 2 other opportunities sitting there for researchers and for students. This is the most unintuitive thing of the judges process. This Wisconsin competition after the 7th will actually be listed here under past competition. So I'm about to click that now. So When you click Past, this is where the Wisconsin competition will be. I'd like to show you the Oklahoma competition. The judges are just finishing up today. They just ended a few weeks before this competition, and judges in Oklahoma are doing the same thing you're doing right now, have gone through this training and are accessing their competition through this Past thing. So if you'll remember to click Past, you'll see the Wisconsin competition here next week. For the purposes of this training, if you'll just insert Wisconsin, where I have NSF Prime Grant access, would be the same thing. So I'm going to click on that as if it were the Wisconsin competition. And because you're connected as a judge, you will have this horizontal menu bar that says View, which will show you the default to the description of the competition. But for your purposes, to access the portfolios that will be assigned to you, you click the word Reviews. When you do that, you'll see your name as you see mine here, with one exception. I have 48 portfolios in this one assigned to me. You won't have that many, but it'll say you've completed 0 out of the 4 or 5 portfolios that you'll be grading for this competition. And they will just be lined up for you. Scroll down here. Forgive me for making you dizzy. We'll just scroll right down here to, there we go. Forklift safety is the one we'll be looking at for this training. On this screen, if you were assigned these, just say 3 portfolios, say soft door close, forklift safety, and cooled automotive intake, I'd like to draw your attention to this word active right here. This is for you. This means that it's just an indication to you as a judge that your review or your score has not yet been completed and sent to Pat. It's just one indicator for you. When you submit it to Pat, this will change from active to the word complete. Okay, so this is how you access the portfolio sent to you. You click the review button. Now we're going to look at, we're going to jump inside this portfolio called forklift safety. And as we look at the first screen, I'd like to draw your attention over to the right-hand side. Again, picturing a 3-ring binder portfolio that you've just pulled out of the mail, in front of you closed. And all of the portfolios default to the cover page, which would be that kind of plastic insert. There's nothing to grade here, but students typically put pictures of themselves and their teammates, information about their school, and some background information about maybe why they've chosen the particular project that they've done. You can certainly review that information, but there's no score sheet here. What I want to zero our attention on are the letters sticking out, or the tabs, if you would, that I'm mousing over at the moment, tabs sticking out of the portfolio. Each one of these is assigned, is something that a bucket or a section of the portfolio where students were instructed to put something. Some of the tabs or elements, as the rubric specialists call them, some of the elements are very quick to grade, some take a little bit longer. And I want to show you right now how to access the rubric. So I'm going to mouse over letter A here. Actually, I'll just click on letter A, and that would, if we were opening the portfolio, would just open it in front of you. And you know you're on the first element because at the top it writes it right on the page for the students, and the little tab on the side stays blue. When I mouse over, I'm not clicking anything yet. I just move the cursor over letter A. There's a lot in this side panel that I want to share with you as a judge, so I'm going to take a moment to do this. And this is also the same interface that the students have been given. So allow me to do that. First of all, the most prominent thing on this little panel is the element rubric. The rubric is very AP-like, if you would, in terms of scoring. There, you can score a 5, a 4, 3, 2, and all the way down to 0. The rubric here for students has defaulted to the descriptor for the highest score for being able to present and justify the problem of a 5. And here is the language of the rubric. Now, when I click these buttons, I'm not actually choosing the score. I'm just accessing the descriptor for that score. And if you would, the rubric specialists have shared with us that their work was to take the attributes of a rubric and make them as staircase-like as possible. In other words, the difference between a 5 and a 4 is the same difference between a 4 and a 3. It's just that as you go down in terms of the descriptor, what's being asked is becoming less and less refined. So a lot of the language is repeated, but what is being asked of the student is being less refined and less aiming at the goal. So that's one way to access the descriptors of the rubric. Earlier, I promised also some reflective questions, and I'll show you where they are. These were also presented to the students from day one, and they literally start with, did you offer the reviewers of this portfolio? And then to access those questions, you push that down arrow. And these are kind of like a checklist, if you would, meaning if, as a student, these reflective questions, if you were addressing each of these bullets, you're probably getting closer and closer to a 5. And that is something that we found very useful for judges as well to review. Here they're talking about clear and concise problem statements, justification that is relevant and new to the problem, those kinds of things. And so this is one way where you can access those questions online. We'll also be sending you a PDF document, again, if you prefer to have that material on the desk as you grade. One more thing to note on this particular panel, there's a lot here for judges. I just wanted slowing down to show you that it's all here for this particular element that you can also access if you'd like, is over the course of the last 4 years, as part of the National Science Foundation research on the rubric, with student permission, we've pulled college, high school, and junior high portfolios from the Innovation Portal, redacted names and schools and everything like that. And then the NSF grant pulled researchers together, experts together, and they would do inter-rater reliability grading over and over and over again using this rubric, whatever portfolio was sitting in front of them. When multiple judges, dozens of judges, of those judges say this is, the perfect, this is a 3, and dozens of people have said this is a 3 using the rubric as a teaching tool and also as a judging resource. In this case, we've been allowed to take those examples and put them here for students as a guide. So I wanted you to know the students have had these as well. But as a judge, sometimes it's nice to look at what other people have seen. You don't have to access these, but I wanted to show you how. So in letter A here, if at the bottom where it says scored element examples, there's a PDF file here, and I'm about to click this. But I want to draw your attention to the top of the screen to show you that when you click this, it doesn't take you away from the student's work. It just opens a new tab. So I'm going to click that now. And so it opened a new tab, and it downloaded, I'm using Chrome at the moment, it downloaded the PDF file. And here's the student work, but here's a 3. And just wanted to highlight this one example, but show you that there are many examples if you'd like to access them as a teacher or as a judge. And here is the summary of what of the comments of many judges about this particular submission. Why it was this is a score of 3, why it wasn't a 4, what could have been done better, what was done well, where it fits in the attributes of the design process that are in this portfolio. There's the full rubric again. Much of this language is repeated. And then finally we get down to the submission. And just for context, I love this particular project. It turns out that if you live in the northern climates, the LED bulbs that we put into to replace traffic lights, the red, yellow, and green, are not saving municipalities any money in the north. Not because they're not very cost efficient, they are. They're saving them money electricity-wise, but it turns out that the incandescent bulbs that were used before, the residual heat that they would give off was enough to keep inclement weather, sleet and snow from building up on the lens. But now that LEDs produce little or no heat, negligible amounts, that accumulates and covers them up. So these students have found this problem, and they submitted articles like this. Here's one from 2009, LED signals seen as a potential hazard, New York Times, some other article summaries that they've done, access to those articles for you as a judge if you'd like. An article summary, their job here was to prove that this is a problem worth doing. Again, April 2010, relatively recent stuff, and all the way down. So they've even offered back some excerpts from interviews they've had with transportation professionals. Here's one from Wisconsin that said they've tried 2 other products and nothing's really worked yet. And so we'll scroll on down. There's a picture of the problem right here, and another article. So between these articles and these submissions relative to the rubric, many different judges have found this to be the best fit for a score of 3. So I just wanted to show you that. I'm going to close that You do not have to access those, but I wanted you to know that they were available to students and they were available to you as well to help you zero in on a score. So this is one way by highlighting each one of these letters to access the rubric. Now what I'd like to do is show you where the scoring sheet is for you. Students wouldn't see this part. For you, on letters A through N, and we'll explain a little bit about M and N in just a second, to access the scoring sheet, it's this little blue pen quill in the lower right-hand corner. When I click it, it opens the scoring sheet on top of the student's work. So I've got a wheel mouse here and I'm just rolling the work behind it. And that works really nice if you have a large screen. If not, you can close and open the scoring sheet at will. And this is where you submit a score. It defaults to a question mark, meaning you haven't scored it yet, which is also a score of 0. And then you can actually choose a 0 through 5. In the comments section over here, if you want to offer some comments back, and I will tell you that these comments go to Pat, they do not immediately go to the students. It's up to the competition administrator if they would like to release, just as if we were at a high school science fair, all the stuff in the judge's room stays in the judge's room, and it's up to Pat as if she would like to disseminate those back to the students. But if you'd like to make a comment on why you thought this was the 3, what could be better, what was done well, you can enter that here. And I wanted to just type some gibberish because I want to show you the how you get to look at your work before you submit it to Pat. Regarding the scores themselves, there's one. Let's say that we're thinking this is a 3 at the moment. I'm going to push this little plus button, and it puts up a floating rubric in front of you. And again, as a judge, this is worth note. This is a best fit model. The rubric specialists have said, look, this is always best fit on something like this. Meaning, if a student has done most of what's in 3, but maybe not everything, but certainly has done everything in 2 and then some, the best fit may be a 3. If you think they've done just a little bit of or everything in 3, it's maybe a low 4, a high 3. It's okay to choose we weren't able to remove all the subjectivity, but if you think that the 3 best describes what's sitting in front of you, then this is how you choose it. Then you say, okay, I'm zeroing in between a 2 and a 3. I think it's a 3. Close the little floating rubric, and you choose a 3 right here, and again, your comments. And that's it. There is no save button. The system has been saving every few microseconds, so if you get called away and have to log off of this computer, this last letter H right there has just been saved. And when you call it back up, you can take over right where you left off. So I'm going to close that. We spent quite a bit of time showing you all the attributes of A, but for each one of these letters, A on down to M, we'd like you to grade. So I'm just going to add a grade to letter B here, which is the request for students was to document and analyze prior solution attempts. So if they can prove it's a problem, chances are somebody's tried to solve it. But what are the deficiencies and the pros and cons, if you would, of the solutions that other people have tried? Again, there's reflective questions in the rubric, and then your score sheet down here. So I'm just going to add a score of, say, 4. Let's say they did a real good job there. And I'm going to type the letter F and G over here, just so you can see that I can put comments. And then as you walk down through the rubric, each of these sections, this is where the students were told to put this information. So if it's not there, then it's not there. If they refer to it in another section to jump back and forth, you can do that. But I do want to draw your attention to letters M and N. When you click on letter M, this is another thing we're going to have to put some text here for you. But the students aren't even able to submit anything to letters M and N. So the only places you'll be grading the artifacts themselves, or that the students submitted, is in the tabs A through L. Letter M is a holistic grade. As you read the rubric and the questions, basically is how well, as you've looked at the portfolio as a whole, how well did the student communicate and document the work so that somebody else could pick up their work and carry over where they left off? Could they arrive at the same point and continue with the project? If they didn't communicate well, if they didn't submit work, then probably a lower grade here. So I'm just going to offer a grade real quick of a 3, and then that's saved, and I'm going to run down to letter N. Letter N is about writing like an engineer. If students put graphs, did they explain the graphs? If they put acronyms, did they explain them? Did they consider their audience? So in the same way, they may have written very well and scored high on letter N, but overall, maybe they left so much out that nobody could pick up the portfolio and move forward. These were two attributes, holistic ones, that the NSF group of professionals who teach design and engineering say that these are important in industry and they're also important in school. So again, M&N, we do want you to grade as judges. There just won't be anything submitted on the screen. You just access the scoring sheet and offer a score there. Okay, the final thing that we have to offer is we've shown you how to access the rubric descriptors online, and also you can print them out, as we mentioned. Again, review, you can look at the Socratic questions that are derived from the rubric, and also the examples, and then also how to access the scoring sheet. The last thing to show you on this interface is how to, once you get the scores the way you like them, how to submit them to Pat. And we've, if you'll think of buying something online like Amazon, we've created a summary page for you. So once you get set to submit your scores to Pat, you come up here to the top and you'll see the words complete review. And I'm going to click on that now, and it gives you a summary page. And it says, okay, letter A, you gave it a 3, and here's your comments. Letter B, we gave it a 4, and here's your comments. If you see a question mark, that means the grade didn't stick. You use the back button, go back and change the grade. Or if the example I gave before, you're one of the judges who would like to be very fluid about everything until it's all perfect and then send it in one at a time at the end, you can go back and change grades. So as we scroll down here, you can see the grades the scores that I've given letters M and N. You do not have to, it doesn't require you to enter a comment. That's entirely up to you. But this is where your score sheet is. And at the bottom, this is how you submit it to Pat. So once again, if you are the judge who would say, well, that was my first portfolio, I'd really like to go back and look at the other ones before I submit anything, you simply jump back to opportunities and then go into your next portfolio. Everything's been saved. If you would like to submit the portfolio to Pat, this little sentence here basically says, after clicking complete review button at the bottom, I won't be able to edit. But you will be able to review your work, and that work will stick with you as long as you have your Innovation Portal account. But if you're ready to submit to Pat at this point, all your scores look good, you click I understand that, I won't be able to edit it. You hit complete review, it gets locked in stone. And the next time you come back, you will see all of this, your scores and everything, but the ability to change any of them and this text at the bottom will be gone. I won't click it here because we're going to use this again for another training session, but that's how you submit your scores to Pat in the end. And then again, you jump back over to opportunities. Unfortunately, we have to click past again because we'll be in the past opportunities. And we jump back into reviews, and I'll show you one that this new carbon anode. If I would have clicked the submit button, it would now be stated as complete. So this is what your bucket, if you would, or your interface would look like when all of your work is complete. Just to check, if it says complete here, that means Pat can see your scores. Your scores have been, more than one person will grade each portfolio, and those scores are automatically sent to Pat or her system, and the system averages those scores together, and Pat gets to watch your work flow in and drink coffee and watch the higher scores float to the top and the lower scores float down. And a couple of questions, and then I'll pause, that have been asked by other judges that I'm thinking maybe you'd like to know as well. One, will you be able to see the scores of other judges? The answer is no. Only Pat will be able to see what all the scores do. So you'll only be able to see your own scores. Another question we get quite often is roughly how long does this take? So the average we've been getting back from judges is that the first portfolio, if it's complete and students have submitted everything, the first one takes, just like grading papers, takes longer than the subsequent ones once you get into the system. So the first portfolio takes an average of about an hour, and the rest of them after that, anywhere from 45 minutes all the way back up to that hour as an average amount of time that judges tend to spend, even when they're being very careful and going back and forth. So I wanted to give you that. The goal of this whole training session was to give you a look at the interface, to give you the resources that you need to access all of these things, and the examples are there for you, and to give you some sense of what the next coming weeks are going to look like for you using the system and accessing these student works. So I'm going to pause for a minute. I'm just going to jump back over to the slideshow, because our goal was to do all of these things. But the other thing I wanted on this slide, though will be embedded in this video that we send to you, if you have any questions or any questions about the rubric, or issues with your the browser or accessing your portfolios, my name is there, and please email me. We will be monitoring this competition and that email the entire time you're judging, so that we can respond quickly. If you have questions for Patricia about the competition or the event in August, you can write her or I directly. We're here to support you in this work. So with that, I'm going to pause, and if you'd like to unmute yourself or enter questions in the chat room that you have. The most important part here is to see what questions I've generated.
One very brief question: how long or how many portfolios do each of us review in this process, just for time budgeting purposes?
That's an excellent question. Pat, do you have a sense of roughly how many, like the minimum and maximum that judges will be getting, depending on the, to answer your question, it depends on the actual number of submissions we get from students.
My goal is not to ask anyone to do more than 5 portfolios. Last year, I think my judges did between 3 and 5, and I had a couple of judges who came back and said, I really enjoyed this process, do you have any more? And so I did give some judges more, but that no more than 5 unless you send me a special request.
Excellent. All right. So Pat, if any of you have questions or formulating them, please interrupt. But Pat, if do you have any closing statements for your judges? Anything that you wanted them to know?
Go ahead.
Hi there, this is Jody, and I have one question. On one of the original slides at the very beginning, you showed that there was a PDF available for the rubric. Can you show how to access that? Or is that something that will be sent to us?
I'm going to send that to you.
Okay. I received the other 2, but I did not receive the rubric in the email invite.
All right.
Thank you.
Yep. It'll be the same, Jody. We'll be just sending it to you as an attachment to an email. So
okay.
We send you the link.
Everyone should have already received a PDF of the reflective questions to which Mark referred earlier, as well as the step-by-step guide for judges. Following our presentation today, I will be sending you a PDF of the complete scoring rubric. I'll also be sending you the link to the YouTube video so that you can go back and review any of the items that Mark walked you through. And then once we have all of the submissions, Mark and I will be distributing those portfolios to your judge bucket. And once that happens, I will be sending you an email reminder to tell you that look in your bucket, there is work to be done. Again, the judging window will be June 15th through July 15th. And I would ask that you judge the portfolios based on how well the team has completed the elements of the rubric, not on the idea or problem. And as Mark has already said, do not hesitate to contact he or me, and we are here to support you and are very pleased that you are giving of your time to be a judge for this competition for our students here in Wisconsin. And again, thank you.
All right. If you have no further questions, or we understand that questions may come up once you dive into the system, and please don't hesitate to write us, and we'll respond quickly. But if you have no further questions, we'll just stay online here as people drop off to see if there's any questions, or if you had issues creating an account and getting connected. We'll take care of all of those. Kind of end the training there. Thank you all for your time.
Joe, are you still on?
Oh, sorry.
Kristen, did you have a question? Oh, okay.